Good morning, everybody. It's still, it's no longer morning. It's 8 after 12 on Thursday afternoon. I would just request it, and this note, I'll put in the thing. Nobody has to really watch it except this gentleman. Uh, an Eqsilver uh, asked me how I got into silver, and I don't think I ever explained it, and how come my pile well, you guys say it's big. Uh, it's not that big, but how come I've been able to accumulate that amount that was on those tables? Um, well, it I was also watching this morning Silverfish, and he was saying how he had this epiphany. This guy gave him a book, and then all of a sudden he come into silver. Regrettably, the guy gave him the book when the silver was $50 an ounce, and hopefully he's uh, uh, by purchasing on all the dips that he's even with that. But let me tell you how I got into silver, and I'll keep switching these coins. This was a coin that Mr. Abnormal sent me for a Christmas present. I think it's a really nice looking coin. And I'll keep switching these out just to make it uh, not quite as boring. But back in the 70s and early 80s, I started my own business, and that was after I got out of college. And many of you don't know, that I went to college, but I went to college started out in Montana, then changed to Hawaii, then went to Oregon, then went to India, and then ended up doing graduate work at University of Miami. But none of which ever rubbed off on me or ever helped me make a nickel. Although I was lucky that I didn't come out with a bunch of college debt. When I was going to University of Miami, I was on scholarship, so they were paying for it. But in the early 80s, I had a big cash business, and and with cash, uh, you surely don't always list every dime to the IRS. But you want to make some investments. Well, anytime you make an investment, there's a record of it, with the exception, even in those days, of silver and gold. So I started buying some silver and gold. One year I bought 600. Well, this is my memory. Uh, I thought I had bought 600 ounces of 86 prospectors, and I apparently bought maybe 400, not even that, maybe two or 300 prospectors, and the rest were 10-ounce bars, Engleharts, and I really didn't even realize that till I put those Engleharts out in the big showing. Let me change coins here. I should have had, as usual, everybody, not everybody, but several criticized me for my methodology in these in these videos. I really don't have one. I just as they go along. I'm glad I never had a live TV show or anything. I used to have a here we go again. I used to have a call-in radio show, uh, but that was a long time ago. Anyway, so what happened was I started, in all honesty, to start hiding money, and the best way I thought to hide it was to buy some gold and silver. And so for a couple of years there, as I was accumulating gold and silver, till apparently I had almost 20 ounces of gold, which I had mostly forgot about, and I had over 1,000 ounces of silver. So then years went by and years went by. I got in and out of the market. I got burned so many times in the market. Uh, I got burned for 120,000 in 5 weeks, in between September and October, with a big downfall. No word from my broker, because I never was interested in money. So, and when I had it, I just would would almost throw it away, because I'd let my broker. I said, just do something with it, and he always did the wrong thing, and then never advised me, and I just left it. I was too trusting and still am. But That's not your problem. So I would buy a little bit of silver along. I'd go over to the flea market. The flea market's been there for 30 years. And there's been other sellers besides Tom and Dave. Tom and Dave now I've known for a couple of years, but the other guys were over there. One gentleman has since died that used to go there for years and years, and he's the one I bought the pandas off of, the panda gold off of. But also every week, me and my friend would go over there, and he'd have his son with him, and I'd buy, the son was, I don't know, 6 or 7. I'd buy him a Morgan silver dollar for $7 every week, and then once in a while I'd put some aside myself. He's the guy that I got the $40 rolls of quarters off of. 6 of them one day, and I was bitching because he charged me $40 a roll. Now they're worth a little over $200 a roll, and I got lucky, because I also, well, all along had this had some cash that had to find a home, because I never really had confidence in cash, and I think we're seeing that sort of wear out to be true, even though it took so long. Well, so I kept buying a little more silver, and then I was getting, at the time I started out for the silver and gold. We had a safety deposit box, and then the box wasn't big enough, and they went in 1 year from $27 for the box to $56, and I thought, well, cripe, silver and all are not going anywhere, so I started burying it, and then lately when I decided who was going to inherit whatever I left, then it was all dug up, and then I put in new boxes and all. And this was maybe I don't know, 7, 8 years ago. And then since then, Mark has been taking care of all the boxes and everything. Oh, that's Mr. Abnormal. He's telling me he's home at last. He was off to school, and that damn thing will buzz every couple of seconds now. But this is for, as I said, this is for Eqsilver, and so I kept buying and buying a little, and then a couple of years ago, I lost some money in the market, got totally out of the market, then went into bonds, got totally out of bonds. There's no money in bonds, and just decided that I'm going to have to rely on something else, and I picked precious metals to rely on. So I have a little bit of platinum, a little bit of gold, a little bit of palladium, and then a decent stack of silver, and I'm still working on the silver. So I'll keep buying on the dips. I've been buying now for maybe 4 years, putting a nice little chunk. As I said, in January was probably the biggest month I've ever spent. I spent almost 15,000. I think it was 14,896 bucks or something like that on silver, because I thought those buys were good buys. Now, silver today, I saw that you can buy APMEX rounds today at $1.29. It's a one-day sale, $1.29 over spot. Spot right now, or when I started this video, was $31.70. So that might not be a bad buy. $1.29. Yesterday, the day before, they had I think it was $40 over spot for ounces of gold. So, in order to answer Mr. EQ, I got on to silver because I thought it was a decent way to hide money, to keep from paying taxes on it back in the 80s, and it turned out that it probably was, and it certainly was better that I have the silver than the government have the taxes. So that was how I got into it. And one of the nice things about silver is that you can get in and out without having to worry about capital gains. Now you don't. You go to the flea market or someplace and you sell it for cash. You don't go through APMEX and sell it back to them. Everything you do through them, there's a record of, and they'll be able to go back if someday they want to. They'll be able to go back and they'll see that record. So you don't want to be this guy shooting away from the IRS. But it's a good way to take some extra dollars that there isn't a major record of, and investing them. But I think it's a good way to invest, period. And we won't even get into whether or not there's a shortage of it or whatever. There'll never be a shortage as long as somebody is willing to sell it. And the question is, how much will they be willing to sell it for? So I'm still stacking, and I'm still, I'm buying what I can afford when I think it's a decent buy. I probably won't get anything this week because I'm waiting on to see if that guy comes back and sells Dave a whole bunch of dimes, quarters, and 50-cent pieces, and because I don't get any Morgans anymore. Morgans are such a premium that as soon as they get a Morgan, they just jack the price up and it turns over in a hurry. So everybody, and one quick word about Mad Dog. Apparently, Silverfish is upset because some people have insulted Mad Dog. My only problem with Mad Dog is that he was telling us that he made money on the premium that he paid $1.75 uh, as a premium when he bought the stuff, and that he sold it for $2 over spot when he sold the stuff. So he made 25 cents an ounce on the premium, but he never told us what he sold the silver for. So we don't know if he made a bundle of money on the silver or whether he lost, whether that 25 cents was gobbled up. So until you know all the facts, you know nothing. And I assume everybody knows my opinion of charts, and I've had some very intelligent, very great response from that, and I really appreciate it. And I'm corresponding with a guy now that has done a lot of research and has worked on the 3D printing, has worked on genetic modifications and stuff, and a very intelligent man. And I was happy as hell to meet him, and hope that we can start corresponding on a regular basis. So I want to thank you, and I want to thank Eqsilver for asking me, and I hope this answers this question. I got in it as a way to hide treasure and funds, and I'm still in it because I no longer trust the dollar or too many other things anymore.